This is going to be a good one. It's Kevin Kenny. We're coming to you live from the Build Series location on 4th and Broadway in New York City. And we've got New York's own AP Ferg on the show today. You got to feel a little bit like a hometown hero right now, man. This is awesome.
Oh, man, I feel a lot like a hometown hero. They got my, Spotify, they just put my whole billboard up on 42nd Street.
Now, how crazy is that for you?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, insane. Like, everybody's sending me pictures of... That's equivalent to, like, when... Are you from New York?
New Jersey, New York.
Well, you remember, like, on 42nd Street when Puff had the billboard up like this?
Back in the day?
It was up there for, like, 5 years or some shit like that, probably even longer. Like, I feel like that. Like,
yeah.
Right there where the ball drops, like, you see AP Ferg every goddamn day.
It's so crazy, man.
I love that.
There's something about that, right, where like you could be on the biggest of stages around the world, but if it happens in your hometown, it just means so much more.
Oh my gosh, like New York is such a hard crowd to please too. Like, I mean, there's so much great people that come from New York, and like if I do shows and I get love, I'm like, they actually like me.
Yeah.
So I always like, whenever I feel like, and I've always said this in my career, if I make it out of New York, I can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I make it
I think Frank
in New York,
Sinatra may have said that too.
Yeah, so I might have got that from him and use it to my ability.
Well, no, but dude, you're speaking the truth in the sense of like if your hometown market where you start is the toughest in the country,
right?
You can really make it not just in the U.S. but around the world, which you've done, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about just New York and you, because I feel like we've had artists actually on the show this week, and we were talking about. It just feels like there's been this whole migration to LA, right, over the past decade, and in terms of the industry, right? But then you're here sort of like holding the flag down for New York City. And not only, because I like your music, and we'll get into some of these tracks on the EP, especially the Brent Faiyaz track I got to talk to you about, that sounds so thoroughly New York City. And I think for a minute there, New York sounded like everywhere else, right? And people may have been staying in New York, but they sounded like other places. You've been amazing at staying true to your roots throughout your career.
I mean, I don't know what New York sounds like. Like, I don't know what that is because I come from the era of internet and being a millennial, and we always shared music with people from Houston or Japan or down south, ATL. We always worked with these producers coming into the game, so I don't know what a New York sound is. If you're really talking about like back in the days, East Coast hip hop, because Run DMC had a sound and they was rapping, and then like Rakim changed that, and then like you had Dipset that came and they had something. It was more sample based beats, but they was also working with Kanye West, and he was from Chicago. So, like, it's influences that come from around the world, and I just continue to push that. I think that, like, the attitude more so is where I maintained the flamboyancy of Harlem and installing that and wearing the Yankee fitted, you know what I'm saying, New York shit.
Yeah.
Wearing that Yankee fitted and representing. I think that is the attitude that goes into the music. But sonically, I always try to challenge the listener and push culture forward. And I always give nods, like most of my projects, like you will hear like a nod like East Coast with like all of the East Coast artists on there, a song that I have. And then like now Pups with like Rocky, we giving a nod to DMX. Mm-hmm. I'm always gonna show love, but then you got songs like Butt Naked that's just like a whole nother sound. Like it's foreign. Then you have even the beginning of Wham and just like the sonics that go into that. It's like pushing a whole nother sound. So, it's giving nods to the past like I've always done, working with Bone Thugs and, Be Real on Trap Lord, but like moving forward as well.
Well, I think of you as this person who's sort of not in between, but you strike me as an old soul, right? And I've seen you talking in interviews about the people that you were inspired by, and I thought it was really cool for you to be so open about that. This 24/7 social world is not necessarily your deal. You grew up on Mystique, and you still believe in Mystique, and I think it's more people should, right?
Right.
How do you find your place though in this new world? Is it just staying true to yourself and just believing in your vision?
I think it's like playing with all of the tools and being receptive to everything. Like, I'm not against social media. I just believe that we also need to live in real life too, like not just through the camera. Sometimes I see people come to shows, and as soon as they come or they see something good, they throw their phones up and they looking through the camera lens, and they missing good parts because they editing and putting their comments and captions and stuff. But you missing stuff, like you're not being in the moment. That's cool, but like question yourself: are you doing it to like please everybody else, or are you really happy about what you're doing? That's what I want people to start doing. Is like whenever you post a picture, is it for your gratification or is it for other people's gratification? Are we doing it for more clout? Are we like fronting on this plane or taking a picture in front of different shit because like we want to impress other people, or we're really enjoying our time? Because that's when you question your happiness. Are you really happy as a person? Because I want you to do it for yourself.
Yeah, not living for strangers. And whatnot,
Exactly.
man. It's crazy. I want to talk a little bit about the journey to Floor Seats in the EP, because it really does feel like, we'll get into the business in a second, but it really feels between the business and the music, the aesthetic. This is like a new era. It really feels like an
Right.
exciting time as a Ferg fan, right?
Wow.
But what led to here was a lot of reflection and you taking a step back.
Facts.
And you kind of reassessed your infrastructure, how you were doing your business. But then you also kind of had it sounds like a conversation with yourself about, do I want to do the music thing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like every artist gets there. You get to a point where it's like you question your place, and you like, is my job here done? Like, can I say anymore? Is there anything to say? Are people listening? Who's listening? Does it even matter? Do I matter to this thing we call hip hop? And that's what creates good music, I feel like, is because you actually have something to say. Whenever you have something to say, that's when you bleed through your pen. And when you don't have nothing to say, you just making microwave shit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to really like reflect and evolve as a person. And then once I evolved as a person, I was able to evolve through my music.
Was that strictly internal, that sort of conversation, or was it things you saw happening in rap that you're like, how do I factor into that?
It was a lot of both.
Yeah.
It was like me seeing like things that was happening in rap, and what I didn't realize is just like worrying less about what they was doing and more of what I want to do and what I need to be doing. Cause it's not a competition. The only competition is myself. So like I be in my own lane and I ain't worried about what they doing, because people don't know who Ferg is until like the next thing happens, and then they still don't know who Ferg is because I'm always gonna keep them wondering. So it's like I can't be in competition with y'all because I'm a total different beast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about with Instagram. Like sometimes we get caught up in what everybody else is doing and the accolades, but we must realize everybody on Instagram is living their best life. They living their best life. Like they like this, and in the moment they put it down, it might be a sad day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to focus on our happiness and do what we feel like is dope and creative, and create for our friends and people that's immediate, and then the world comes after.
How do you measure success personally as an artist? I know physical representation is big for you. Like the house recently was just something you could actually point to and say,
Right.
like, my hard work, it led to.
You got a lot of info. I gotta watch you.
Yeah. But you could, no, for real, man. And you could point to that and say, it's funny, totally different world. We had a country band on just before you here, right?
Word, yeah. I was looking.
Yeah. And I was like, I wonder if Ferg knows Old Dominion. But no, and they were talking, they'd just been touring and touring and touring, because that's the name of the game over in that world. And
The same here.
yeah, really, I should say really in all of music. Now. But it's so hard for an artist. Like we keep getting content from you guys, and we keep like kind of getting the benefits of all this hard work. You don't always necessarily get to enjoy it though, because it's work. So again, like to get back to the original question, how do you measure success? When do you feel fulfilled and validated?
With a peace of mind. Being able to do what I want when I want to do it. Not losing sight of myself and what I believe in and who I am, what I was raised on. Yeah, I think it's freedom. I think it's freedom to create, freedom to think how I want to think, freedom to live how I want to live. And I think that's success. I think anybody could be successful. It don't matter how rich you are, or how many pair of shoes you have, or none of that. It like really success can be like a dad that he's a teacher or he's a janitor or whatever the case may be. His version of success can be like coming home to a cooked meal, a beautiful wife and a family, and just living life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My mother's success is way different from mine. My stepdad's success is way different from mine. My mother graduated college. I didn't. She got like her master's. My stepdad got his master's. Like I didn't do that shit. Like I would have felt really successful if I would have did that. But I used to feel bad too because I'm like, damn, like, it was a whole nother pressure for me to graduate college, but that really wasn't my calling. Like my mind was just I learned different. I taught myself a lot of stuff, and I had to realize that I learned different. Like I can't do the systematic learning thing. Like I have to really be hands on and go out in the streets and walk, the fashion district and pick out fabrics and like go to the studio and rap and meet people and learn journeys. That's how I learn. Watch documentaries and read books myself. And I wound up where I am now because I taught myself a lot of stuff and went looking for that. But for them, it was more, they got through the system and they graduated and they did that way of learning. So that was successful for them. They was able to pay bills, feed me, coming up, support me. So that was successful. They did their thing.
It's funny you bring up the just really going there, touching the fabric, so to speak, and just being in the streets and really getting in the weeds of your art, whatever it may be, right? Because I think that's what I was trying to say before about you sound so New York. When I say somebody sounds like a certain place, it's not necessarily the sonics of the record. It's like if you travel, I travel. If you're in a city, I want to like feel like if I'm walking around and I'm in New York City and I throw on a Ferg track, I want to make sure that should feel like the soundtrack. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And there's something really visceral though about your music, right? Like you can touch it almost, you can feel it. It puts you there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a byproduct of what you're talking about in your approach to the art.
For sure, I think it's in the spirit and the soul of the music, because Busta Rhymes was so New York, but at the same time, he was so like worldly too. Like we never seen anything like him. Like David Bowie, we never seen nothing like him. Kurt Cobain, we never seen nothing like him. And he was from where he was from, but like he was for the world.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like I am that staple in New York, so I'm the soundtrack of New York now. Just like Frank Sinatra was, or Jay-Z was, or is. Like, I'm that now. So you want to hear some ASAP Ferg?
Yeah. I gotta big you up in a very special, specific New York kind of way because there's one, you can collaborate with people. That's one thing.
Right.
But then you can use an artist like because of your knowledge of this game and your knowledge of music history in the exact way, in the best way that artist should be used, and you do it amazingly with Brent Faiyaz on this record. Because I swear to God, I listened to this song and I was like, damn, Ferg's got 112 on the record. That's crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
You totally get it.
But you know what I'm saying? And and it doesn't sound dated, and I'm not trying to say it sounds dated at all. It captures the essence of what made those Bad Boy records so great in 97, 98. There you go. And Brent, who I think is Brent from Maryland? Baltimore, right? Yeah, he's from like the DMV area.
We got Baltimore in the building. DC.
There you go.
DMV. Shout out to DMV.
But I just thought that was such a genius move of you to put him in that role, right? It's almost like sports, right? It's putting the person in the right position to succeed, and it just came with a beautiful record that I think concludes the project, right?
Yeah. Dreams, fantasies, and fairy tales.
Right.
I created that song 4 years ago with Salam Remy, and I actually forgot about it completely. Sometimes I do that. Like I created it, so I'm like, if it's not really like booming to me, like I'm just like off of it. But I revisit songs a lot. He wound up putting Brent Fires on it. I've been wanting to work with Brent Fires. I started reaching out on my own. That's why I really feel like it was divine. Like, it was divine intervention, like, where, you know, all of our worlds came together. I didn't even, like, get connected with Brent yet. And Salam sent me the record with him on it. So that's, like, insane.
And how big was your smile when you heard that?
I went crazy.
Yeah.
And then, like, they added to the production. I thought it was done already. I'm like, all right, bet we could put this out, like, tomorrow. And they like, nah, yo, I'm going to do some, Salam told me, nah, I'm going to do some extra production on it. He took it to a whole nother place. He took it to Disneyland. We was like in Rob Playland. He took it to Disneyland. But we was in Coney Island, and he took it to Disneyland.
There you go. Like
Universal Studios. But it's amazing, though, because Brent is really an amazing artist. And everybody knows this. I feel like I wanted to be a platform for him to really get his off, though, too, as well. I like to work with a lot of underdogs. Like, I was talking earlier with a friend about choosing Kirk Knight consciously to work on Plain Jane because I knew he was so talented, and I knew that I had a platform where I could really get his talent off and wound up being my biggest song, which is Plain Jane.
Yeah. And also, I mean, what you get with underdogs, right, is that those are artists that have something to prove.
And hungry.
Yeah.
They're hungry. They have so much to say. People ain't listening. So it's like, all right, I'm going to give you the platform to scream.
Yeah.
You got 3 million people to scream at.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You know what I'm saying?
It's a hell of a platform.
Right.
What's cool, too, about Brent and you is, like, I think a lot of homogeny is something that I think is kind of weighing music down.
I like
right
that
now.
word, homogeny.
Homogeny. We're busting out the
That
SATs.
sounds like
it's back to school season.
Homogeny. That's nice.
No, well, I mean, just playlist culture, and I could go on all day about how I don't know if that's the best thing for creative, unique music, but a lot of times I'll hear an artist on New Music Friday, I'll be like, oh, they're doing the that person thing. Oh, this person's doing the that person
You can
thing.
figure them out off rip.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I see what you did.
I hate
you
that.
heard that song and you
I
made this
hate
song.
that.
But
Oh,
you and
man.
Brent, like Brent's got a song right now, I think it's called F the World.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, that guy, because nowadays it's like faster, faster, faster. Start with the hook, right? In terms of you putting a single together.
Right.
Brent takes like 45 seconds to even open his mouth in that song. And I think that's just so great because it's like, it's confidence in your art and it's doing your
Right.
own thing. You know what I mean?
Definitely, and that's why I love Brent because he does his own thing. And also, too, like, back to, like, pushing sound and artists I choose to work with, I think I also, I know I have an A&R ear. I never had an A&R in my life. Like, it's only been, like, women, children, and, like, close people that's around me that, like, giving me, like, ideas, like, of, like, yo, you would sound good on this, or I like this song. But I've always chosen my own beats. I've always, like, been very hands-on with just the whole creative process from lyrics all the way up into, like, building a new sound. Like, I had to create my world of sound. Like, what you hear on the radio, that just ain't, you ain't never hear nobody doing my ad-libs or doing, using reverb really on their voice until they heard an AP Ferg ad-lib. Let's be honest, we ain't hear nobody doing reverb on their voice and it sound like you was in a dungeon or something like that until you heard the cool-coos and the derm and the all rights. You ain't heard none of that. So, like, that's what I wanted to do always is innovate culture and push music forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I really have a shot at being a great A&R for myself and others. So now I'm, like, working with other artists. I signed 2 producers, amazing producers, Tweak Tune, who did Wham, and he did Butt Naked. And then I got Frankie P, who did the majority of Trap Lord, the album. And I worked with him on Still Striving, Always Striving Process. Most of my albums and this one, he did Pups and Wigs. So I'm just looking for more talent. I just got a new artist named Antha. She's a female, amazing artist.
And on the project.
She's on Wigs as well. We working on her project right now. Her shit sound crazy.
That's awesome.
So if you were liking me to Biggie, she'd be like my little Kim.
Okay.
Like, and I mean this. Like, when I tell you, when you hear her shit, it's not gonna be the shit you expecting at all. It's not gonna be none of this shit that you hearing.
Yeah.
I love it all, but like we pushing it here.
Yeah.
Like we pushing it forward. Like how many times you gonna have the same sounding song? Like
Right.
all of these songs are starting to sound the same.
I gotta ask you a crazy question. When you were growing up, I'm sure you listened to a ton of stuff, right? You just strike me as a super open-minded kid. Is there any metal influences on this record between the Prodigy sample, between I feel like the in-your-face bravado that I used to love as a kid, that used to scare me as a kid watching MTV with these metal bands. You're bringing back, I mean, we just watched the video at the top for the song. It's very in your face. And just, I mean, you performed on TRL a couple weeks back, Floor Seats, and it felt like a rock show.
Right.
You got Rico Nasty, who I think is like one of the most metal acts out today. Is there anything to that?
Hell yeah, I got leather pants on. What you
I was
mean?
gonna say, man.
I'm definitely inspired by rock and roll music and Run DMC and everybody, but like LL Cool J. I'm inspired by like of course Prodigy, like you said. I was listening to like 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, just like tapping into different frequencies and trying to figure out how I could take music to another level and do something that hasn't been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's cool, because you know Ferg is never going to copy. He's going to take, he's going to get inspired by it, and then it's going to go.
I could get inspired by like a lot of things. Like I listen to Sade whenever I want to chill and I'm relaxing. I listen to Seal. I'll listen to all these different things. And people be like, yo, I never thought you would listen to something. Why wouldn't I? Like I'm a whole artist that like I'm creating a product that you never heard anything like. Name one song that sounds like anything else. Like, you know what I'm saying? It could remind you, it could feel, it could give you a vibe, but I'm not directly copying anything. Like, I can look at a movie just like I could look at a movie. Like, this is what I used to do and what I do sometimes. I'll look at a movie and pause it, and I'll create a score for that, just that shot. And that's what created Hood Pope. That's what created Cocaine Castle. That's what created the majority of my songs, because I'm drawing inspiration from different things.
Right. It's the essence.
Exactly. It's the essence. Exactly. It's the essence.
Homogeny, essence.
Essence. This kid got vocab.
We're going to kick it to social media in just a second, but I did want to just spotlight the